technical. Hi, Ozzy Angie. Thanks for hopping back on. These technical difficulties. Josh is in the building. Let's pull him up. Sure, my volume is up. Go live. Loyalty. Josh, we're here. We made it.
We made it, friend. What's up, friend?
You know, kicking it.
You say you kicking it?
Yes, Monday, hard at work.
Yes, sir. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I just want to tell y'all, so I was on earlier, like checking the live and all that, and the service had dropped. So we're gonna put it in the universe, but we ain't got to deal with that tonight.
Amen. We're gonna pray for some good service vibes.
Yeah, all of that. So, Josh, oh my God, I love this because literally, if y'all on the live, I'm sure y'all already know Josh, but if you know him, he is like a marketing PR genius guru. So it only makes sense that like you would be my first IG live because when you were in New York, you gave me my whole social media marketing, Courtney creative PR strategy. So here we are. I'm taking heed.
Yes, sir. Let's do it, friend. Let's do it.
Let's do it. See, I done spoken into existence already. I'm gonna let Josh hop back on. But y'all in the comments, will you let me know if you can still see me and hear me? Hopefully you can. Okay, here we go. Okay, Just Jay says you can hear me and see me, so
boom.
We're back.
We're
back. But yeah, where was I? Yeah, so this IG Live. So first of all, if y'all don't know, if you're not in PR marketing, so October 30th is National Publicist Day. And so, you know, me and Josh are both in the PR marketing world. And, you know, I was like, let's do a week. Well, actually, Josh gave me a great idea of doing a week of IG Lives with, you know, other PR marketing people that are in my network that I, you know, love, that do great work. So here we are with Josh King and ATL. And yeah, I wanted to talk about, you know,
Yes,
you
sir.
wear a lot of different hats. I first met you, like, over 10 years ago when I was interning. Yeah.
10 plus,
That's
bro.
wild. But yeah, I was interning at MTV, and we just connected, and now here we are.
I mean, I think that's the beautiful thing about Publicists and black men in PR, that we don't lose contact with each other. Because I think it's a rarity. And now that more black men have become a part of it, it's become more of a community. So I'm just happy to be a part of it, for real.
But yeah, I mean, I consider Josh a big bro. He's always, you know, giving me business advice, you know, working together. But let's talk about your mini hats. So just mini hats in general for anybody that's watching that's a multi-hyphenate, you know, maybe a full-time job, you do something on the side, or maybe you have multiple side hustles, or maybe you're, you know, a seasoned entrepreneur and have many businesses or one. So I know one of the things we talked about the last time you were in New York was, you know, the whole creator economy and how, you know, that's kind of like the now of where we're at. So, you know, given the creator economy and, you know, everybody's kind of, you know, hustling or having a weekend, you know, business or something they focus on. Tell us a little bit about, you know, your journey into PR and how that happened and kind of the multiple hats that you wear.
Ah, man. I think my first inkling of PR was probably like when I was in high school, when I started writing. I didn't know what I was writing for, why I wanted to write. I just knew I loved writing. So when I graduated high school and I went to college, two of my roommates, David and KG, God bless their souls, man. They were best friends with Sammy. So when Sammy would come up to Tallahassee to FAMU, he would come to the crib, you know, just be around type shit. And, you know, on campus, like I was photo editor, you know, I wrote for the magazine, I wrote for the newspaper. You know, I was just moving around on campus. So because of that, you know, I had plugs and ties. So I always had a strategic mind. So when he would come in town, I'd be like, yo, Sam, hey, yeah, we got to get you at the party. Hey, yo, Sam, hey, let me get you booked at the homecoming concert. Hey, let's take care of these interviews real quick. Not knowing that I was doing publicity per se, right? But I was just using my leverage. I was using my oomph on campus, right, to make a way for somebody who became a friend to me. You feel me? And you know, growing up, I am R&B. You know what I'm saying? So I love Sammy from the jump. So I was a fan before, you know, I even worked with him, right? So that allowed me to not only know a lot about him and see how he can be positioned in the world and with brands, but also just the relevancy of who he was and using that to his advantage, right? So I worked with him for maybe like 6 months while I was in college, and he was like, look, bro, when you graduate, you got a job. Like, he told me that shit. So after I graduated college, I moved to Atlanta, and I was Sammy's publicist. Um, the first gig I got Sammy was Stump the Art 2. He was a judge. So if you watch that movie, you'll see Sammy as a judge on Stump the Art 2. And that was the beginning, man.
That's
That's
what's
how I
up.
got
So
on.
how did that? So you know, having that experience with Sammy, how did that blossom into a full-fledged career? I know you have worked with Travis
Career.
Porter. I mean, of many people, but
Right,
so Sammy was kind of like the start of that journey. So
right.
how did it blossom?
I think I've always moved with intention. So when I started with Sam, we started Sammy's Youth Foundation. And we started Sammy's Youth Foundation so he could get into high schools to speak to kids, to see his audience, right? Because there was a whole generation of kids who knew him. And also, especially here in Atlanta, everybody wanted to be an artist. So we used his leverage at these different high schools to have these, we would call them, I think we call them pep rallies or whatever, but Sammy would talk. We would maybe have 300 to 400 high school students in the gym, and we would invite local talent from Atlanta to come perform. So one of the talents was Travis Porter. So the manager reached out to me and it was like, look, I want to get Travis Porter on the school tour that y'all doing. And I was like, say less, perfect. So I bring them aboard, I move them around that day, and he falls in love with how I moved him around. So from that day when I brought them to Sammy's event, I was their publicist leaving there. So right off the bat, my career started with two amazing talents that were already successful, right? But I was able to come in and help strategize and strategically move them around, deemed necessary based on where we was in culture, what was happening. You know what I'm saying? So um, that was a wild ride because it was three of them, and it was the first hip hop group I was
I mean,
with.
they were huge.
So
You know what I'm
it was
saying?
a
So
lot
like,
of
how it?
no, they
Yeah.
were
I mean,
super
yeah.
huge. They were like Migos before Migos. You know what I mean? When it comes to being from Atlanta, it being three of them making dance, trap music, turn up music, if you will. They had the song with Roscoe Dash. That was just out of here. Make It Rain, Bring It Back. The 106 in Park to those press tours, Atlanta, Miami, LA, New York, and then you got the small markets doing tours. It was a mess, bro. But I
Yeah, I
love I
remember Make
love
It Rain, like
everything
every
about it.
party, every college party. That song was in rotation. So
What you
I'm sure like that
mean?
era was, crazy. But I'm sure it was like a learning,
Yeah.
you know, situation for you too, right? Because you had been out of college and you started working with Sammy. Everything kind of happened organically. Then you started working with Travis Porter. Uh, so you were
Right.
like in the mix of like,
Right.
mainstream hip hop, mainstream R&B. So like, how much of it was, natural instincts, what you learned in college, and how much was it like kind of learning as you go? And like, how'd you manage that?
Man, it
Yeah,
wasn't nothing that I learned in college.
right.
Not no book work at least. I mean, at FAMU it was a HBCU, so we were hustlers. You know what I'm saying? So we knew how to make shit shake. But being with Travi and Sam, it really aligned me to understand that with strategy, anything can happen. And I'm a strategist. And I think as a publicist, as you know, that's where it starts. Where's this going? Why? Who? What? Where? You know what I mean? So being able to foresee that they were on the pulse of culture and then being able to insert them in culture with their relevance, whether, like I was saying, 106 in Park or, talking to Rob, who was the editor at Vibe magazine, I mean, at Double XL magazine at the time. And we had this whole thing because a group had never been on the cover for the Double XL freshman. So for Travis Porter, we had to do a special section, freshman group. And then under that was two other groups besides Travi, but they had the main spread because they wanted them for the cover. But, we had to make a way. So it's just like, okay, well, they definitely deserving because they had one of the biggest records this year. So how do we make this work, right? So again, strategy, having clear understanding of how to make something out of nothing, So yeah, it was a beautiful experience, bro.
So I mean, talking about strategy, because you're like a really good strategy idea person. Like you can come up with a whole strategy in one sitting. So when it came to, I'm just curious, as a hip hop R&B Travis Porter fan. So when it came to working with them, like strategizing with their team and management, like what did that look like? So it's like, okay, here's this new group. I don't know if y'all knew that the music was going to take off the way it did, but like what was the intention thought in terms of how you approach PR, for them? Was it like, okay, we know the music's gonna be hot, like here's the people we need to be talking to, here's the looks we need to get, like talk us through that part.
I think with every client, and I think you can agree with that, it starts with the team. And for Travis Porter, they had an immaculate team. They had a manager who understood numbers, who understood where the social stratosphere was going. Because again, this was maybe 2010, 2011, right? So how we released music was different. So I was setting up plays with like Vibe and Travis Porter to release mixtapes exclusively and having, phone to download apps that we conjured, making the fan base happy, but also using press and media as an outlet to do so. And really leaning into the hip hop culture and the dance culture. So with everything that we did, we made sure that we had some type of fanfare because with Travis Porter, fans were crazy about them. So everywhere we went, we had to make sure that we had some type of activation for the fans. And I think this was kind of like some of the first time where we were using social really heavy to get the word out about music or about special contests or about downloading this in order to get into this. I can remember specifically we did a concert that the media partner was The Source. And with The Source, we had a free concert. Kids just had to line up and turn in canned goods. And I want to say it was probably maybe 25 to 3,000 kids who showed up downtown Atlanta for the concert. But really being creative because the fans did the work. They really had some outrageous fans. So a lot of that was about what do they want to see? What do they want to hear? How would they want to be perceived in the videos with Travis Porter? Because everything was digital or fan based. So it was a very unique campaign.
Yeah, I'm trying to think like, okay, obviously now we're even heavier in the digital age. This is something we talked about. So it's like, in that short period.
Yeah. It was the beginning of the Twitter partnerships. It was the beginning of Twitter takeovers. If you remember those when you would ask artists Q&As on Twitter.
Oh.
Man. But also in-book mattered a lot too. Because as a hip-hop fan and as hip-hop fans, they love magazines with their favorite hip-hop artists in them. So us doing creative things like with Double XL or when we did the shoot with The Source, it was pivotal that we always made a reference for them to be able to be creative and use their own voice because their formula worked.
That's what's up. Hey, y'all that's joining, feel free to drop in the comments, say what's up, where you from. But I want to shift to the
From Miami,
conversation more around like being a multi-hyphenate. Like, you wear a lot of hats, PR marketing, talent management with influencers, which is a whole, like that business wasn't even around 10 years ago, I wouldn't think. and then also, your music. working in R&B now, you know, being an R&B artist yourself. So I guess, you know, in today's economy, you know, the digital economy, how, I guess, what advice would you give for other multi-hyphenates, and why do you think now, because I personally think now is like, out of more than ever, the best time to be a multi-hyphenate and to have, you know, your hands in different pockets. So yeah, just tell us a little bit about your experience being a multi-hyphenate, and how you leverage all those different avenues.
Man, I think it stems from childhood, being forced to overcome obstacles that are constantly thrown in your face, and I think that turned me into a solutionist, right? And I think being able to come up with solutions is what every brand, every talent manager, every influencer marketing company, every journalist, they want solutions, right? So I think coming in with solutions and time management, that's the key. I think we were taught to just focus on one thing, but the pandemic set some of us down and said, "Hey, this ain't always gonna be around. What else you gonna do?" Right? So I think I leaned into that, especially when it came into music, because I've been in love with R&B all my life, but never in a million years did I think I was gonna be an artist. Like, you couldn't pay me enough money 5, 10 years ago, 3 years ago, to say I was gonna be on somebody's stage doing this. But using my gifts is what, you know, we're supposed to do, and when you follow that, I think everything else then becomes natural and organic, especially when it's God-given. So to my multi-hyphenates, I think time management is key. You have to really demonstrate that you can be a master at publicity, you can be a master at R&B music, you can be a master at managing talent. And a lot of that is about being selfless. A lot of that is about understanding that people are people, and we have to humanize these things. And then you can have better conversations that lead to you being able to do more in life. So it's a few things, but I mean, I think that combination is really, you know, the meat of it, bro. You can't just, you know, do one thing, or you can't just be good at one thing, or just you can't just, you know, study one thing if you're trying to do a whole bunch of other things. I'm busy. Like, you know, when we was up there
No sleep.
in New York, you know, I mean, our days were long. You know what I'm saying? And that was just me coming to New York based on what needed to be done. So if we need to hit CultureCon, we need to create content at CultureCon, we need to get leads at CultureCon, then we need to leave and then go to another party so that we can get more leads. And
Literally,
then it's about,
yeah, that whole week you would
and
feel
then
like
PR.
You know, it's like killing 50 birds at one stone, like CultureCon, networking, which led to all
50.
types of, you know, either new business leads, going to an event as your show. I mean,
Yep.
yeah.
You can't be lazy, bro. Like, you just can't be lazy. Like, all of us have it in us. It took nothing for us to realize, okay, we need to do X, Y, and Z to be successful this year, or this weekend. And having a partner in crime helps. You know what I'm saying? Batman and Robin. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you have that every time, like, most people don't even have that. And that's the glue,
And I will
as
say,
you
you
know.
know, like you said, when you were starting off in PR, a lot of what you learned was not, you know, in college textbook, you know, PR. I mean, there's like technical aspects, you know, learning how to write a press release, or, you know, build media lists and all of that stuff. But
Right.
it really is,
Right.
you know, a skill. It's interpersonal. It's right here. It's developing relationships. And I remember, like, when I was, uh, you know, interning and learning in school. You know, I'm very by the book. I'm very academic or whatever. But especially when I started working for myself, I had to learn, like, more honestly of the interpersonal part of it. You know, which actually makes the job more fun, more fulfilling, and really a lot easier. But yeah, I mean, it's all about growth. So yeah.
No, I think you're doing a wonderful job, bro. I think you've grown a lot, and I think we've all grown. But it's just important for PR professionals to understand that they are the magic. It's not the journalist. It's not the talent. It's the PR professional. We're coming up with the strategy. We're coming up with the who, what, when, where, why. We're telling the manager what to do. We're babysitting everybody. We managing
All of
budgets.
that.
We getting deals. Like, we're them guys, bro. So I know that. And after some years of experience, you have to walk around with that, or else you'll be kicked all over this place by some people who don't know what the fuck they
Sometimes
talking
PR is
about.
like the last person think, but the first person that gets the blame. So you have to know your worth and be confident in that. And yeah,
You have to.
and be able
Yes,
to let
sir.
people know your value. So let's go. So I'm curious. You work in music. You're a music artist through PR. So let's talk about so what's the music you're listening to right now? Well,
Myself,
not mad
honestly.
at that.
Who else am I listening to? I'm listening to Renaissance. You already know I'm listening to my baby. Um, uh, Babyface new album, Girls Night Out. He got a song with
I heard the
Ella
song.
May. He got a song with
He got another song out with Ari. Yeah.
Yep, with Ari Lennox. Yeah, he got all the ladies on there.
So obviously, B fans, Renaissance album. We in the Beehive, but I just remember. Okay, so her rollout with this album, I personally think it's just been like so perfect. Like we still waiting on the visuals, but I feel like that's very intentional. She's like, I want you to listen to the music. I want it's you got the music. We got the partnership with Tiffany's, and it's like the first visual that comes out is in partnership with Tiffany. So like, I'm just curious, PR to PR, looking at her rollout. Like, what are your takeaways in terms of, on the PR tip?
Jana Flashman said something one time, who was Jay-Z's publicist, and she said, when you're new, do everything. When you don't have to do everything no more, don't do it. And that's just the substance of PR, bro. Like, we now know that, as Beyonce, she has mastered the element of the narrative. And to do so, you had to go through a few channels. You had to be the first to really ignite how to roll things out. You have to be a trendsetter, and she takes a lot of risks. So with that said, with this album, I think it's a bunch of bullshit going on. So when Beyonce come, she coming like, well, I can't play these games.
Yeah.
Like the whole numbers game, like that's beneath her. So if that's not the strategy, then what is the strategy, right? So I believe that the strategy is to focus on the music and the music alone. If the tier was, I am this visual artist and I changed the game with visual albums and stuff like this, let me flip it on y'all boys. Yeah, let me just give you the music. Let me make music that's going to last and penetrate culture so that you don't need a visual for it. And she's setting the tone. The album's still in the top 10, and it's been out for 3 months. And she hasn't had an album do that
So
since.
clearly they know what they're doing. Clearly.
Of course. You can't get caught up in the fanfare of people wanting something. Yeah. Like, we all want the visuals, but that ain't what this about.
True. But I still want the visuals.
It's bigger than that.
Outside of that. As a fan.
For sure.
I want to shout.
For sure.
What'd you say?
She know that.
Yeah.
I say she know that.
But I want to shout out some of the comments. So Levi in Atlanta, DC native. Oh, talking about your music. So DC native learned about your music from Kevin Ross.
What's up, DC native? What's up, my boy?
Good music from DC. Who else is in the comments?
Thank you.
Goodbye.
What's up, Levi?
What's that?
Atlanta? Levi from Atlanta. He say he's from Atlanta in the comments.
If y'all have questions, comments, or anything, just drop them in the comment section for sure.
Saucy Vocals, what's up?
Love it, love it, love it. Okay, so going back to the multi-hyphenate conversation. So what advice would you give, other people that are either going into PR, juggling different hustles? Like what? Actually, let me run that back. Let's take it back to PR. Like, because even when you were here in New York, you gave me a lot of like sound advice on the PR tip for like now, even when it comes to, we're in a digital age. It's about social. So when it comes to PR, like what does that look like, now, doing PR now, not 10 years ago, when I was in college or, interning. So what, like, what advice would you give other PR professionals, shifting to the now in this digital age and the way that people, get media now?
I think the biggest takeaway now is that PR is community. Excuse me. Everything happens from a community base now, whether that be from social to brand deals. People are getting granular about who their audience is. And the more that you can dive into your clients or talent's audience, then it's a win. Because PR is no longer, as we know, in book or even blog posts. Who wants to read that, right? PR is a bunch of people vibing out to your music, right? PR is a bunch of people being able to tweet about lyrics in a conversation and having dialogue in Twitter spaces about these specific lyrics, right? So really leaning in on community so that it's not about something that is just lasting online or in an article. It can go viral and it can teach other people how to listen, how to learn, how to intake whatever that information is. So publicity is awareness. Publicity is community more than ever before. Because I can't tell you the last time I was on a blog site.
No, that's true. So when it comes to, so I'm like monitoring the comments too, like in case questions come up. So what is this? I manage the biz as, besides time management, what's the key to establishing yourself as a multi-hyphenate professional?
The key to establish yourself is, I think you have to be yourself authentically, and you have to have people who believe in you to support wherever you go, wherever that multi-hyphen goes, right? So for instance, like you and I could have been just cool and we email and we say hi and bye to each other, right? But to know Josh is to know me. I don't know people who don't know me, right? Like if you know me, you know me.
True.
And that's just what it is. So so to know that, I understand that I have to be in my essence all the time, every time, in order to be, I guess, solidified in my own self, right? And then I'm able to jump from hyphen to hyphen to hyphen because people believe in me. People see the passion, they see the work ethic, they see the talent, whatever it is, they see that because of some other situation. Therefore, if I decide to be a lawyer tomorrow, or if I decide to be an astronaut next week, I'm gonna have hella people at my fucking lunch because I have a community who believe in me. You know what I mean? So I think that's the key, because if somebody only knows Kenneth as a publicist, then that leaves no room for them to know that you're also a creative director. You also manage niggas on the side. You also are a fashion nista. You also love androgynous, flamboyant, all these things that make you you. You know what I'm saying? And it's beautiful. So if that's the case, why don't people know about those things? Because we are the brand. So either way you go and how you look at it, you only know that I do R&B because I told you, or you heard it, or you saw it. You know it for no other reason. And same thing for anybody who is looking to be multi-hyphenate. You have to take it seriously. You have to invest your time and energy into it, and people have to know you're serious about it. Right now, it's people who believe in me more than the music may be good, right? Because I'm just starting off. So I have grace from whether it's being able to perform in New York or to be able to be styled by a major brand in New York because of my relationships and because of people who know me to be. It's not because I had the #1 R&B song on Spotify. That's not the reason. You feel me?
I want to jump in on the point about like as a multi-hyphenate being your authentic self, because that really really resonates with me. So most of my clients are Black, queer. I'm in the LGBTQ space,
Right.
and I found like when I worked in agency, I started off in fashion PR, which was dope. I mean, great experience. But there was always this sense of, my authentic self was not fully celebrated or welcomed in those spaces. And I found that once I started working in the community and I was more comfortable being my authentic self, that really like the universe opened up and business, opened up because people saw my, who I was, and they fucked with me and they wanted to support me. And it really established a level of trust because you know what you're getting.
Right.
You know the work's going to get done, but you also know that, coming from a space of authenticity from, really caring about you as a person, which established trust.
Right.
Also want to shout out Chris. My assistant is in the comments. I cannot wait till next month.
What's up, Chris?
When you come back, who else do I see? If y'all have comments or questions, drop them in the comments section. Try to make sure I didn't miss any. Levi asked, how can I get placement for you because you are dope?
Thank you, Levi. You should send me an email. My email is in my bio, and we can work it out, my boy.
Yeah, if anybody else has questions, comments, drop them in the chat box. So going back.
Anyway, I thought you was gonna waste some time because I was about to go in the House of Dragon, but go ahead.
Wait. No, I'm just scrolling through, making sure I'm not missing anybody. I think I'm.
4G, what's up, my boy?
So let's talk about what's next.
What's
Let's talk about what's next. So, PR, managing influencers, the music, where do you see, what's next for you career-wise? Or what would you like to blossom?
It's really about evolving my music career. I'm tired of working hard and not smart. So I'm finna work hard on you boys. I have the gift and I want to make sure that I hone in on it. I do right by it, that I'm, studying the craft, that I'm getting vocal lessons, that I'm doing all the things that I know that I need to do to be great because it's coming. It's just a matter of time now. I'm putting it out there. Like, like God just say, just do it and I'll make room for you. And he making room for me every day. Like, I can't even tell you how blessed I am with the friends, family, support, strangers. Like, I started at no monthly followers on Spotify to now I have like 17,000 monthly listeners on Spotify. And that's a big accomplishment for me. You feel me? Like, I'm out here doing it by myself, putting in the work, making sure that I'm educating myself, taking care of these vocals. So, like, yeah, I'm proud of that. You feel me?
I feel that. That's what's up. I'm on the same wave. I feel like now it's about doing everything with intention, growing the business, growing the audience. Because being an entrepreneur is, a lot of it I've learned along the way. It's been rewarding, still learning, still hope to keep learning. But it's really just, about your passion. What are you willing to, to sacrifice to get what you want or what you feel like you deserve?
And what are you willing to do? Because it's a lot of people who want to be multi-hyphenate, but they're not willing to put the work in. And work doesn't always mean behind a computer. Like, work is having genuine conversations with people, understanding where people are, being curious about others. And we live in this so self-centered ass world, bro. People, you might be talking about how your grandma passed away. They can't wait to tell you how theirs passed away. It's like, slow me down, my boy. Just take it in real quick. you know, being a great listener. That's how you be a multi-hyphenate. You know what I'm saying? Like really understanding other people, what they're going through. How can you service other people? And it's not enough of that. And that's the key to it all.
Yeah, that's where it starts, empathy. But now we do live in a very censored world. So we got a question. So Chris, what's up, Chris? So he asked, professionally speaking, what is the most recent challenging thing you experienced? So we can both jump in on that one. I'll let you go first, though.
Challenging. Challenging. I don't think it's challenging, but I think it's probably the closest I can get to it. When you are a go-getter and you have vision and you are focused, you are going to run into 99% of others who are not. And keeping your morale up, keeping your spirit high, keeping your motivation, your drive, your discipline, keeping that at a industry standard, self-sufficient standard is probably the most challenging things to do because of how we sit as black men, as black gay men, as black men in industry. It is rough. So to do one thing is hard, but to do multiple things, you just have to really lock in and believe in yourself. You feel me?
Yeah. I'll also jump in on that. So I'm somebody, I'll do the work. Like I'll do what needs to be done. But in this period of growth, like Chris who's in the chat, so he'll be full time on my team next month. But when you're building your businesses and trying to be a leader, like mental health. I'm gonna say for me, it's a big one. Staying, keeping my energy good and focused, and leaning on, my network, my tribe for support, because that is important. You don't have the luxury of, a boss or management like keeping you on track. You have to really keep yourself on track. And
Yep.
so I've learned, okay, I have to stay. I need to. If I feel my energy getting low, or if I feel like I'm losing focus, like I will reach out to however I need to reach out, or if it's therapy. All those things are important because we gotta, the show must go on. The show must go on, and you have people to support. So that's really important to me. Even outside of work. I'm like, any other questions before we wrap it up? Even though, I could sit and just chop it up with Josh
All day.
all night.
Just because.
Right. But no, this was dope. I'm going to be in Atlanta very soon, so I'll be hitting you up for sure.
Bro, I appreciate you having me as your first guest. Let's go.
Yeah, thanks for being the first guest.
I can't wait to do it. You already know.
Yeah. But no, appreciate it. Y'all, if y'all didn't know, so National Publicist Day is October 30th. So follow me. I'm doing IG Lives with, some of my favorite people in PR marketing. And I hope if y'all, dropped in, y'all took something from it, enjoyed the combo. We got one more question from I Manage the Biz. So what's your favorite song right now? Mine personally is Beyonce Virgo's Groove. Like, it's my favorite song on the album besides Heated. And yeah,
Same here.
I it every day.
Hey, that's my favorite song now.
There we go.
VG.
Alignment.
VG.
All right, y'all. Well, thanks for joining us for this live. Josh, I appreciate you.
Appreciate you, love, bro. I'll speak to you soon. Y'all be safe. Listen to my music. Download it. Link in the bio. Yes, sir.
Peace.
Peace.